About 4.5 million Ghanaians are believed to be infertile. That's the screaming headline. Oh, yes, I got somebody screaming right now. And the headline from the Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show that got almost all of us talking and asking loads of questions. So this morning here on the AM show, we've got the fertility specialist, who is also the chief executive of the Lister Hospital, who made the statement, joining us, Dr. Edem. Dr. Edem Hiadzi is my guest. Good morning to you, Doc. Thank you so much for making it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm sure you followed. Did you follow the conversations from just the headline?
Well, I had comments.
Okay.
I didn't really have the opportunity to go online or read because I've had a very busy schedule since the health show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
are you surprised that it's surprising to many Ghanaians?
Yes. I'm not sure whether the actual facts went out clearly because immediately after the show, I had a short TV explanation and cleared the air about 50% of Ghanaians not being fertile. That was not the message.
Okay.
The actual truth is there are about 15% of Ghanaians who have problems with conception, with pregnancy.
1.5 or 5.0?
1.5. 15% of Ghanaians have problem with fertility. And of that 15%, 50% of the time it is the man. Okay, that's the man has a contribution in 50% of cases. That was the message.
Okay.
So if we take it that way, then it's 7.5% of Ghanaian men have contributions to the infertility in their marriage.
For me as a woman, that's still very shocking because who thought men could also be responsible? The burden has always been on the woman.
Yes, it is true. And I mentioned at the health show that when I was in medical school, we knew that men contributed about 12% to infertility. And then by the time I became a doctor, it was around 20%. By the time I was going for postgraduate, it was about 35%. And now we know it's about 50%, which means it's increasing. Or research is showing that more can be attributed to the man as well. More and more research has shown more in-depth of the reason why there is infertility. And I believe too that because the onus has always been on the woman to get pregnant in order to say a couple are fertile, over the years that had been the concept that you needed to if your wife got pregnant, then you were fertile. Or if your wife didn't get pregnant, she was infertile, which was very unfair. But that is now cleared very, very clearly in the
research.
Reproductive centers.
Okay.
It is clear.
But is it also cleared in real terms on the ground?
Well, in the developed world where information is dissipated very openly, and also there is a lot of transparency between couples in the developed world, so you never see a woman going alone to see a gynecologist or a fertility specialist because she wants to be pregnant. They go as a couple. In fact, the booking is done as a couple coming together to find out why. And the preliminary tests are done on the two. So by the time results come, you can tell immediately that there are blank bullets coming from one side, or the man is perfect and the problem is with the woman. Suffice it to say, there's more tests and investigations conducted on the woman because apart from bringing the eggs and the man bringing the sperms, she has to conceive. She has to have the fertilization in her and implantation in her before the growth of the baby. So more investigations is done on the woman. But if at the beginning both come and the man is cleared, that's it. He doesn't have to come again, and more focus can be put on the woman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but what's our experience, our own story here in Ghana in terms of the two coming together, doing the booking and doing the follow-up together?
Yeah. For a very long time, the woman would come first because she's been getting the bashing of delaying in getting pregnant, the insults, the abuses, the looks. And so they come and want to know what is happening. And then when they investigated and found that there's nothing wrong, then the man is sent for to also come and do a test. And sometimes they don't come till the fourth or fifth time before that happens. And sometimes even the man would refuse blatantly, and that marriage may be dissolved. He goes into another relation, and still there is no pregnancy there before he starts thinking that maybe. And by this time, the woman he left would have gotten remarried and gotten pregnant. Then they awaken. But it is changing now. I must say that in my own experience, I've had men coming first, saying they've been married for some time and there's nothing happening, but they want to be checked to see if there's any problem with them. And that's a good feeling. But gradually, you're getting couples also coming, but it's taking too long to get to this point.
But we're also getting a lot of options in terms of getting pregnant, aren't we? There are different ways. We used to, couples still very much worried when the baby is not coming, or we're beginning to explore and look at the other options these days?
No. I think in this part of the world, on your wedding day, people are reminding you about 9 months from then when they are coming for an outdooring. So the pressure is there right from the word go. So they don't assume that there would be other options and therefore it doesn't matter. Most people would wait for a year and then seek help. But then sometimes people come within 6 months and say that, yes, we've been married for 6 months and nothing has happened.
But that's too early to be worried, isn't it?
Well, it's because the expectation is, once you have intercourse, you will get pregnant. So it doesn't happen the first month, no problem. Second month, no problem. Third month, then they start to panic. A lot of people do not know that even when everything is fine, it is not every month of the year that you can get pregnant. So even when you take normal couples, in a whole year, probably just 50% of them will get pregnant, even if everything is right. Because you might not get a good egg in a particular month or good sperms in a particular month. Many subtle factors would affect this. So you can relax for the first year. Let's see whether things happen. And then after that, then you may seek help. Occasionally, it is just a matter of knowing the best time to do it. So seeking help early may just, bring that to you. I call those Lotto numbers, meaning the potential ovulation times and the best times to get pregnant. So an early sort of help is not.
So do I get the sense that you're saying know yourself even when you're not ready to have the baby? Just be familiar with your system.
Yeah.
So that when you think you're ready, you know at least the time when it can be possible.
Yeah. Read about it. Talk about it.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to test it because you're not going to test to see whether you can get pregnant before you are ready, only to say, I can get pregnant. Okay, I will.
Because you can't reverse it.
I'll terminate this. And no, that is not right. There are things some couple do. They may come to check the woman's ovarian reserve.
Okay.
Yeah, these days there are tests that will tell how much eggs you have,
Okay.
whether they are enough.
Even in Ghana?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, whether they are enough in preparation for the future. You can do that. You can also check your tubes even before you get pregnant. But this can only be done if you are no longer a virgin, because there will need to be access through the reproductive tract, and that may disturb your hymen.
Okay.
So that is not recommended for virgins.
Okay.
Yeah.
My guest in the studio is fertility specialist and chief executive of the Lister Hospital, Dr. Edem Hiadzi. We're talking about infertility, and it looks like we're zeroing in on the men, but we're talking generally about it. And I will leave a lot to you. I would encourage you, if you have any questions at all, to give us a call. 030221169102, 030221169102. You can give us a call. But Doc, why is it very easy for some people to get pregnant and difficult for others? There are people who say, oh, I didn't even want it, it just came.
Yeah. Okay. The 3 requirements for getting pregnant are good eggs, good sperms, and good tubes. The tubes are the access within which the egg and the sperms are transmitted, they meet and get fertilized before the embryo, which is the product of fertilization, moves back into the uterus to implant. So if you have good eggs and your tubes are not blocked, then invariably, if you have intercourse at the time of ovulation, meaning the eggs have been released, you will get pregnant. I would say that for majority of people, it is expected that if at the time you had menarche is your first menses, you have it at the right time. Over the years, menarche has shifted. It used to be in our parents 15, 16, 17, and then shifted down, and now you find 9-year, 10-year-olds are having their menses very early. But once you have your menses and it is coming regularly, meaning every month, every 28 days, or every month you have your period, it is invariably assumed that you have a good ovarian reserve, and therefore, at the time that it will be needed, you will be able to produce the eggs. Okay. If from the beginning your periods are very irregular, they come once in 3 months or once in 4 months, or always delaying or very irregular, then it means that you may have some hormonal problems which may affect you during the time you would want to have a baby. So the history of your cycle can give an indication of whether you will be having normal egg production or not. That's the first thing. If you've had any pelvic infections in the past, it could be bad vaginal infections, or like gonorrhea or something else, sexually transmitted diseases, then be aware that you could be having problems with tubal blockage in the future.
Okay.
And therefore, you may want to find out quite quickly. With the men, most men will start sperm production around 16, 17, thereabout. Sometimes it moves further down to 14, 15.
Okay.
But then most men cannot really tell whether they're going to have a good sperm or not, because with a man, from a certain age, you have any early morning alert, which
that you're alive.
That you're alive, and then even with time, sometimes you have wet dreams, And then you think, oh, I have sperms, they are thick, so they're fine. But it may not be so until you actually have a semen analysis. You may have very good erection, strong, can go for 30 minutes non-stop and have a good ejaculation, but it may be just semen without any sperms in it. Until you have a semen analysis, you can never tell.
And that you can also do in Ghana, the semen analysis. Interesting. Well, I said that I was going to leave most of the questions to my viewers to do. Fortunately, we have quite a number. So let's go to Mauli. Mauli Povis and Akachi. Good morning to you, Mauli. Thanks for calling. You're on air. Go ahead.
What I want to ask is not of what you're discussing anyway.
Mauli, you have to come again.
So what I want to ask is not of what you're discussing anyway.
It's not on what we're discussing necessarily. It's not related. Then I would encourage you to call right after the show. So let's not even go. As soon as we close this segment, please give us a call. Let's move on to Richard. Richard Nyama is in Sunyai. Hello, Richard. Good morning.
Good morning, Mama.
Yes, Richard. Good morning.
Yeah. I have a question. Sorry.
Richard, just hold on for me. Can we hear Richard on the floor so Doc can hear what Richard is saying? Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying that I have some questions to ask Doctor, but it's very private and very personal. So I don't know if I could get his contact so we can continue after the show from there.
All right. You would have to call us right after the show then. Just call us as soon as we close the show. Can I, based on just these two calls, just fallouts from the trade show, what were some of the things that people wanted to know, particularly the men, because men obviously don't speak out in public?
Yes. One of them is just what I've narrated, that having a good ejaculation or having a good head-on and an ejaculation does not mean that you're capable. You're capable.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to have a semen analysis to let you know, and then when people then do the test and find that the sperm count is low, then they get worried. There are various supplements which you can give. Over the years, some of them are becoming more trustworthy and will be able to improve your sperm count to an extent that you might be able to make your wife pregnant if that was the only problem. Because occasionally infertility may be due to multiple factors, a bit from the woman, a bit from the man, in which case both parties need to be dealt with to get a good outcome. But if it's only the man, then once the improvement starts, you can see, you can get results by making her pregnant. Some of them are also worried about the availability of treatment in case there is no sperm at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, does that happen? No sperm at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do a semen analysis and there is no sperms in the semen at all.
Okay, even though the person feels alive in the mornings and
everything
gets the
is
wet
fine.
dreams.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Everything is fine, but there is no sperm in it at all. And usually that could be due to one of two things. One, either sperm production is going on well, but the tube that carries the sperm from the testis to the penis to come out is blocked along the way.
Okay.
And that is obstructive azoospermia, meaning that there is an obstruction, that is why there's nothing coming out. Or there's, difficulty with production within the testis.
Okay.
So it's either the factory is producing, but the road from Tema to Accra is blocked, or there's no production going on.
Okay.
And to find that, you do a test on the testis itself.
Okay.
And you can find out whether there's normal sperm production going on.
Okay, I've got some follow-ups on the test specific, but let's speak to some callers. Sharifa Ibrahim is in Takrady. Sharifa, thank you for holding on. Yes, Sharifa.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you, please.
Okay, I have a question for the doctor.
Sure.
I know a couple who has a woman for 5 years now.
Oops, did we just lose Sharifa? Sharifa, I would ask you to please just kindly call us back because you've been holding for a while and I can't believe that we just lost you. Let's go to Kweku. Kweku Hayford is also in Takrady. Kweku, good morning.
Good morning, Mama. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. Let's hear you.
Thank you. I want to ask the doctor, if a woman does a test on her tubes and the tubes are blocked, does she have a hope of giving birth? The second question is, if a man produces semen without sperm, does he also have hope?
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Kweku, thanks for the questions. Doc?
Yeah. If the woman has a test on her tubes, let's say with an X-ray, and it's blocked, all hope is not lost. She can have a further test by laparoscopy. Most X-rays, you are awake when it's being done, and therefore the doctor cannot apply pressure to try to open the tube because it would be very painful. So we would normally just apply the minimum pressure. If the dye doesn't go, we stop. But under laparoscopy, when you are asleep, we can apply more pressure, and invariably several people have their tubes opened during the time of laparoscopy.
Okay.
So all hope is not lost. Now, if you did laparoscopy and still you couldn't unblock the tubes, then the option of IVF would have to come in, meaning the eggs would have to be brought out and fertilized outside, the baby formed, and then put back into the womb to help the woman to get pregnant.
Okay. I wanted to ask about success rates in terms of the blocked tubes.
It depends on the level of blockage, whether it's minimal, dense, or not. So, ballpark, I would say if an X-ray showed blocked tubes and you'd had a laparoscopy, probably about 30% of them may be open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a significant lot. Yeah, about 30%.
It still represents a good deal. Let's speak to Stephen Akar. Stephen is in Seshirioso. Good morning to you, Stephen.
I think under the other part.
Okay, we'll come to that. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Let's hear you.
Mama, I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm going to work. If I can have the doctor contact so that I can call you.
Okay, so, all right, here's the thing. Thank you, Stephen. Doc, is there a certain number that you give out? Because I wanted to do this at the close of the, but since Stephen says he's going to work, we don't want him to be late.
0244 320 720.
0244
320
yes
720.
720. Okay, all right. That was the other half of the question that you didn't touch on.
I think that was on the man.
Yeah.
Whether if
there's no sperm at all.
Yeah. If there's no, we're back with Kweku Hayford.
Yes, sir.
If there are no sperms at all, it may be because there's a blockage from the testis to his penis, and therefore we can do a test to find out whether this is the case, and help him. But if there's no production at all, then we may have to sort donated sperms for that person. If there are sperms in the testes, you can go in and get the sperms out and fertilize his wife's eggs, which are collected at IVF.
Okay. Can I just a little message that I want to send across? I can hear your phone vibrating already. The doctor is on set, so if you dial his number, you won't get to speak to him. So if we can finish the program, then you can begin to call him. Otherwise, you kill his battery before he even attempts to pick your call. Let's talk to Jacob. Jacob is in Koforidua. Jacob, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, too.
Let's go. Please, let's hear you.
Yeah, my question to Dr. Hiadzi is that infertility and family planning is there any relationship? Because we have some women who go through family planning and as a result affect their productivity. So I want him to at least give us some explanation in relation to the two.
Sure.
Yeah, infertility and family planning.
All right. That's a very important aspect that you've gone to. I like that very much. Thank you, Jacob. Let's speak to Abdul Latif. Abdul Latif is in Zabzugu.
Yes.
Good morning. Yes, sir.
Good morning. Please, in primary infertility, what nutritional advice will you give to the couple in primary infertility?
Can I get your understanding of primary infertility? What do you mean by that?
Just like some small infection that the doctor diagnosed one woman where I sent to the hospital.
Okay. Okay, and the doctor said it was primary infertility. Okay, but did the doctor prescribe what the woman should be doing?
Precisely, they only give folic acid for a start.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Abdul. All right. I wanted to do a doctor's job, so because I think I've had it before.
Yeah. Which are we answering first? The second?
Oh, we can answer the second first. Right. Yes, whichever one. Primary
infertility is actually infertility in somebody who has never been pregnant.
Okay.
So if you've been pregnant before and then now you're having difficulty, then that is secondary infertility.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is not how light the problem is, but whether it's before conception or never before. Yeah. And he wanted to know what dietary advice.
Yeah.
There isn't a specific diet necessarily that you would say will boost fertility for that matter. We know all sorts of stories around Atadwin and all that.
It's not true?
Well, I think it may probably boost your erection. I'm not sure whether it will give you more sperms.
Okay.
When I was a kid growing up, it was tapioca, they said, but I think it was just because it was a sticky kind of thing and related to the looks of semen, so they thought it was so. But a healthy diet is a balanced diet, meaning not just taking carbohydrates, a huge banku or huge fufu or whatever with very little protein and pepper and just that's all. But you need, good vitamins. So you need lots of leafy vegetables and colored peppers and all that. They have good antioxidants and lots of vitamins in there, and enough protein from fish, chicken or meat is fine. Nothing in excess, everything in moderation, and particularly avoiding too much alcohol and cigarettes. Those two definitely reduce your fertility.
Okay.
So for diet,
this goes for men and women?
For men and women, yes.
Okay.
Across board.
Okay. Let's touch on the family planning.
Yes, that was a very interesting and very important question because I know in medical school and growing up doing the family planning clinics and all that some people worry about family planning because they feel that when they are ready to have children, they might not be able to have it because they've tried to prevent it. Yes, but it isn't necessarily true. Why I say necessarily true is before you have family planning, one's history needs to be taken and several considerations taken to decide or recommend which particular type would be more suitable for a particular person. Most of family planning would be either barrier methods to prevent the sperm from meeting the egg or having access into the reproductive or into the womb and beyond. That's where you use the condom or the cups and all that. Or it would be hormonal, where you would use medications that would prevent ovulation, like the pill. So when you prevent ovulation, it means the egg will not be there for the sperm to fertilize it. But then the pill has been used over many, many years, and it was one of those that liberated women, where they could take the opportunity to control when they wanted to be pregnant or not. And in fact, most people who have used the pill for long, appropriately, when they stop and their periods come back to normal, and they are able to have children just like that. I've looked at people who have been on the pill for 10 years, stopped, and then after they got married, they decided to remain on it for 3 months to have freedom, and then they stopped, and 2 months later they're pregnant. So reversal is very common and quite easy if your hormones are fine. So one needs to be properly checked. You don't say your friend had been on the pill before and you know it helped her to prevent pregnancy, so you just go, what pill did you use, and go and buy the same thing. You need to have your system checked and to be sure that it's appropriate for you before you go for that. Then come the intrauterine contraceptive device. It's called IUD, but the appropriate name is IUCD. Intrauterine contraceptive device, because IUD could be intrauterine death as well. But we add an F there, intrauterine fetal death. So IUCD, yes. With that, it's also important that you have a permanent sexual partner, or you are married, in order to use that, or even that you've had a kid or two before you use that, because it has a string attached to the device which comes out of the cervix into the vagina, and this is to be used for checking by the woman to make sure that it's still in place, one, and then two, that's what we hold on and tag on to pull it out when it's time for removal. However, because it is connected from the vagina to the device which is in the womb, and it is a transit, the vagina is not sterile. It's open to the outside. It has its own ways of checking its infections, but it's a conduit. It allows germs to travel along the cord into the womb, and it can go beyond that into the tubes. So if you don't have a trusted partner and he picks up something from somewhere and you have intercourse, that is a nice channel of transmission of infection into the womb and into the tubes, which will then block your tubes. So in many schools of thought, those who have not had children before, it is not their choice, you know, of device to be inserted, or choice of contraception to be used. You're safer off with the hormonal methods than that.
Interesting. Never gotten this understanding.
Well, so you need to talk to a health specialist who will assess you and guide you on the selection before you go ahead with which one you use. And once you use the appropriate one, there should be no problem. In most married couple who use the coil, once you remove it, within 2-3 months, they're back pregnant. So they are all devices that work very well, and they help one to make a choice of when they want to have children. It's always better to be able to decide when you want it than to take the gamble and then get it and say, no, I didn't really want it, and then go and have a termination, which if done badly will rather lead to blockage of your tubes.
So, with this understanding of the family planning that you brought to the table now that I'm learning, who should you be talking to? Who should be your first point of contact when you want to get onto a family planning method?
There are family planning centers.
You don't always get this kind of understanding. I tell you what, the things that you've shared this morning, I'm hearing for the very first time. Because usually what they say is, oh, keep trying. This may not work for you, but if it doesn't work, just move on to the next one until you get one that works for your system.
Well, talk to your gynae.
Okay.
Most good district or regional hospitals will have a gynecologist. And in fact, we are also trying to empower many doctors to have a better understanding of reproductive health or infertility. That is one of the tenets of the Fertility Society of Ghana, of which I'm the president. We want to dissipate as much information to our colleague gynecologists and the doctors so that our women can have good information right from the primary health level all the way up. Most the association involves midwives and nurses as well. So the more educated the health personnel are, the more good advice will be passed on for the benefit of our people.
Absolutely. I want to spend the next 2 minutes, which is the last couple of minutes that we have on this conversation, to talk about, because at the trade show you talked greatly about assisted reproductive health. It is a bit expensive, isn't it?
Yes.
Or the more exposed we have become, the lesser the cost involved.
Yeah. It is expensive in any part of the world.
Okay.
Because of the inputs. One hopes that as the technology improves and as drugs can be made more affordable, the cost will come down. However, I think being able to get people to address the situation early will reduce the need for assisted reproductive technology to be required by that couple. So one of the issues would be, don't leave it for too long.
Okay.
When you are a young lady, you have age, and you get married, well, first of all, get married, and then get going with having children. Don't postpone it for too long because of career, and seek advice early. When you start and you don't get a result, move on to the next level of expertise so that you can be helped much earlier. Then the assisted reproductive technology may not have to come in. A lot of the people who need assisted reproductive technology are the older women, because as you grow, your ovarian reserve diminishes and getting pregnant becomes more difficult. I also say the older you get, the harder the shell of your eggs get, the more difficult for penetration. And all the ramifications. I can't go into the details now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the earlier, the better.
Okay. Where can people get help? You are the head of an association.
Yeah.
Are you all over the country in terms of the association, or you are just in the capital, Accra?
No, you can get assisted reproductive technology in Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi. We are hoping that colleagues in the other regions will take it up. Hopefully soon there will be one in Ho, and then Sunyani, Tamale, and then it will make it a lot easier. Setting these up is a very capital-intensive process, and therefore it takes time.
Yeah.
Apart from that is teamwork. We do not work alone. We work with embryologists, and they need a lot of training. And because it's expensive, you want to go to a center that would do things well and give you good results, because you can't pay all that sort of money and then have a shoddy job done and not a good outcome.
Yeah.
So we are trying to ensure that people are properly trained and that we are properly regulated as well, so our people will get the best out of us.
Okay, so just finally, how much are you? How much can one spend if you're really looking for a child and it's not naturally coming?
Yeah.
How much should you have in the bank?
Okay, if we talk of assisted reproduction, let's start with the basic one, like insemination, intrauterine insemination. The drugs plus the procedure itself may cost between 4,000 to 5,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
And then if you go up further to test tube baby or IVF, you could be spending about 25,000 cedis to get that.
Okay. Well, I guess the good thing is now you don't have to travel. You can also find it here. Well, thank you very much. The number that you give out, the number you give out,
0244 320 720.
Okay. Good luck with the phone calls, because your phone is still vibrating. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Hiadzi, for your time on the show. He's a fertility specialist and chief executive of the Lister Hospital. I have learned so much from this conversation, and I hope that we've been of help to you as well. Make sure you get the right advice, go to the right places, so that you can be sure what you're getting done. All right, stay with us. There's no food security without food safety. That's what we're talking about next.